Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the call tonight. My name is Luther Harris, and I'll be your host tonight. I'm here hosting with Kylie Bell. This call is actually Kylie's idea. She reached out to me after convention. She said, "Hey, we need to do like a couples call thing. Have you ever done one of those? I've been on a couples call before, but I've never actually hosted one." And so this is our first shot at one of these couples calls. But I will tell you something that Kylie and I share in common. We are passionate about couples doing this business together. Very passionate about couples doing this business together. My wife and I do this business together. Kylie and her husband do this business together. And we want this call to grow and be a place where people can go and have community and ask questions and talk through strategies. But tonight we're just gonna kind of lay out our heart for this call and lay out a couple of things that we believe are vital for couples to have going into this business together. All right. And so I say let's dive right in. The title of tonight's call: Better Together, Building a Thriving Business and Leaving a Legacy Together. When my wife and I were in education, we kind of had this thing where we were like, man, one day it would be really nice to like go into business together. I know some people like might find that weird because some people go like, I could never do like business with my spouse. I could never like start a business or go into anything like that with my spouse. Like we desired to do something together, and we had no idea that Plexus would be that thing. We had absolutely no idea that Plexus would be the avenue where we got to live out that dream, where we got to actually work a business together. And so we are so excited to have this opportunity. I didn't know if my wife was going to get to join us tonight because she's been putting the kids down, but she just walked in. So really excited, just in time for introductions. So let's talk through the purpose tonight. The purpose tonight is to empower and encourage couples to embrace the journey of building a thriving legacy business together. There's a lot to embrace on this journey. There's a lot that we go through on this journey, but we want to make sure that we are all embracing this and understand there's a community of all of us that are doing this together. The second thing is to provide questions, insights, and experiences around what it might look like to partner with your spouse in this business. But all of our experiences are going to be a little bit different because all of us have different personality traits and different ways that roles that we play in our household and things like that. Like all of everyone's experience is going to be a little bit different, and there may be something that I can learn from Corey and Lauren, right? Like maybe there's something that they're doing that we need to do differently, and vice versa, right? So that like to this call is going to grow into that. That's our heart, and to foster a community of couples that support and encourage each other in their efforts. So important. So that's our heart tonight. Nope, we want to go forward. In tonight's agenda, we'll do introductions. We're gonna call it the three things for couples. And then we'll do a questionnaire and a Q&A at the end, so that we can start the process of um, uh, dialogue between all of us. So, quick introduction. My name is Luther. My wife's name is Joya Harris. I am a Ruby ambassador. She is a senior silver ambassador. We started building our business at the same time. And somebody was like, that's dumb. Don't do that. Just build one leg and then go back and build the second leg. So we started building my leg. We built my leg to Ruby. And um, we've built my leg to Ruby, and now we are continuing to build my leg to Emerald and Sapphire and Diamond. And once we get to Emerald, we're gonna start building her leg up again. And so that's a little bit about our story. I started the business first. We're one of those weird couples where I was like, man, I'm sick of acid reflux and I'm sick of GERD and I'm sick of being tired. And somebody was like, hey, have you ever heard of Plexus? And I was like, the pink drink? I had actually tried it before. And then I tried it again, and all of that subsided within a month. My wife, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, she started the products and was dealing with acid reflux as well. And so her acid reflux subsided. She was able to work out to 38 weeks pregnant, which I thought was like super beastly. I was like, dang, girl, get it. Because that did not happen the first time. And then as far as her recovery, Plexus completely changed her recovery. Like she was ready to work out again in like 3 weeks. So I was like, okay, I see you. I see you, Plexus, right? Like it was a completely different experience from our first pregnancy. So we had great belief in these products really quickly. Once all of my stuff subsided and I could go through the laundry list of things that I was dealing with, I was like, oh, I'm all in. I'm all in. But then we realized that we were both stepping out of education and into other avenues. She was going to part-time work and I was going to full-time work in the back office for a consulting company. And money was going to be tight. Money was going to be real tight, but she felt good and I felt good. And we saw the value in feeling better for our kids. Right. And so we were like, we'll make the sacrifices. At the time, we was like, we can make the budget work because, the inflation numbers are not what they are now. And so as those numbers have increased, like we've seen an increased need to really pour into this business because this business has helped create margin. This is the first summer where I have not had to worry about trying to work 5 jobs in order for us to just get by. And Bro was on the call. I don't know if y'all feel me on that, but like we get to the summer and it'd be like, all right, what do I need to do so we can go on a vacation? Or what do I need to do? And I would go out and I start cutting grass and I'd go out and I'd be just trying to like find who needs a sink fixed, right? Like I'm just trying to find stuff to do so that we could have a little bit extra money coming in. I don't have to do that anymore because of Plexus. And I can't tell y'all how thankful I am for that. And I can't tell y'all how thankful she is, I think, for being able to have me in the house, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. You can, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know if I was supposed to say anything, but I apologize if I have to leave. I'm Joya. Our daughter is being very difficult. Of course, that's how it goes when you have Zoom. So, if I randomly walk out, that's why. But we're really excited about this. This is really cool to see all these couples. We haven't met a lot of couples in Plexus that build their business together. So, look forward to hearing from some of you. I don't know. He set up everything. So, whenever there's time for questions or anything like that, y'all don't be shy.
Don't be shy. We love people that talk. All right, that's a little bit about us. The next couple is Kylie and Richie Bell. Kylie's a senior ruby and Richie's a senior silver. I did not get to change the slide, Kylie, and for that I apologize. But she is a senior ruby, so let's give her her chips. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let Kylie briefly introduce herself.
Thank you for having me, and it's no big deal on the slide. You're a boss for making the slide, so I appreciate you. And honestly, this is like why I love Plexus is there's so many people on this call I don't know, but I'm so excited to get to know. So I feel like that's just such a blessing in Plexus. And Luther and I, we didn't even know each other, and I certainly didn't get to know Joya. I had just heard about a men's call, a Men of Plexus call, and Luther had shared his story. I was like, oh my gosh, he has such a great story, and I'm so excited to get to meet him and see where he and Joya are going. And finally got to like, we had a mutual friend that we had met through Plexus that I was like, oh my gosh, that's Luther. Wait, I want to meet these guys. So we just connected at convention. And then it was like, okay, this would be really cool to discuss like topics of couples building in Plexus because there's just so many things that I didn't realize even up until now. And the 4th of July this year is my 5th year with Plexus. So there's still things I'm learning and growing on every day. And there's different avenues. I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize like how big of a blessing it is to truly be able to build as a couple that were just really enlightening to me. So I'm excited to get to share about that here in a little bit. But I'm a lot like Luther as far as I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. PT boy mom of 4, 6'5", and 4 months, 5 months now, and who's teething. Super exciting, let me tell you. So like being upright right now and having to wake up multiple times last night with the teething baby, with my dad who had eye surgery and just got out of a water park, like it's only Plexus, people. You don't stay upright if you don't. And so I started because a friend of mine had trouble nursing her baby, and I was a former athlete, knew all the like kind of things of wellness and being in PT. You would have thought healthcare would have covered these things, but healthcare is really sick care. They really don't care about anything except their pocketbooks, and it's not our pocketbooks. So student loan debt and illness, I went there. Oh yeah. I started sharing Plexus because I was ticked off at healthcare. That's truly the reason I started sharing. Because I realized it worked. And actions speak louder than words for me. And I had no more brain fog. I have no more painful cycles. My 2 last pregnancies and postpartums were night and day from my previous 2 that were prior to Plexus. And even my dad says if people don't do Plexus and have seen your pregnancy and postpartum, they need to know. And so it's just like a million times over of blessings for us, to be able to share and help other people. And getting to see all my couples on this call, I'm like so dang proud of you guys for hopping on. And so grateful that you're here because it just brings such a great community. And so I actually built my husband's business. And so we'll kind of talk more about the differences of that, like Luther touched on it. But the impact that you can make when you guys are actively building together totally can change the game for your business and stability. And so I'm really excited for us to get to talk on that. So and God's always providing. I feel like that's one thing that when you're in Plexus, like it's more than just Plexus. It really is foundation of faith and relationships with people. And so like if that's where you feel like you lie, then you're in the right place. And so that was huge to me, was knowing that like God provided this business and we were not looking for a business. I was the one that said, do not touch me with a 10-foot pole about the business because I had no idea about network marketing. I do not sell things. I didn't even want to market myself as a personal trainer. It's because I was like, I'm not going to sell myself. And so but there's a total different avenue when you're trying to like actually serve people well, and God just blesses you. And so like that's the motto, is if you're blessed, be a blessing. And it's totally true that way. And so he has provided for us financially through this business, to where when I lost my job during COVID as a healthcare worker, this provided our mortgage. Then when my husband actually just lost his 15-year law enforcement, this allowed for him to be able to stay at home with our kids, even though I had prayed for that, but not necessarily in that aspect. So God's always got a sense of humor there. But it has provided a lot more quality time with our kids, and that is a huge gift. So that is my intro. So back to Luther on the bomb PowerPoint over here.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your story, Kylie. That's my first time hearing it, y'all. Like she said, we just connected at convention. And then we're in Atlanta and she's in Idaho right now. So it's like massive time difference. But we're making this thing work because we deeply care, we're deeply passionate about couples doing this together. And there's one thing that Kylie said in here. It's like when we seek to serve others well, God honors that. He honors that, right? When we seek to love thy neighbor as thyself, God honors that. But when we talk about seeking to serve others well, I truly believe, and my heart for this call tonight is for us to understand that starts with us serving each other well as husband and wife. That starts right here. And so tonight we're going to talk about the 3 things that allow us or that will open us up to doing just that, serving each other well. That first of those 3 things is communication. We're going to talk a little bit about, and I hope there are no typos in the PowerPoint. Communication is the first thing that is vital to our life in this business. The second is willingness. Okay, and we're going to talk through willingness. And the third, and guys, get ready. Okay, vulnerability. Oh man. All right, dudes, we're going to talk about being vulnerable tonight. So just, hang on to your hats. The ladies are real good at this one. Us, not so much. Okay, so those are the 3 things that we believe are vital for couples as they seek to grow these businesses together. So we're going to start tonight with communication. Let's talk about communication. The first thing that I believe we need to be clear about or communicate about is clarity of purpose. Understanding and alignment of our why in this business. Why do we do this business? What is it that is driving us forward in this business? I know for us, our why is the fact that we want to homeschool. I don't want to send my kids to a prison for 8 hours a day to learn from somebody else. I don't desire to work 8 hours myself and be away from them, right? And so I need to find an avenue that allows me to not have to work 8 hours away from my kids, 8 to 12 hours away from my kids, which is what I was doing. And I need to find an avenue that allows us to not send them away for 8 hours to have be influenced by the world. Right? And so Plexus for us is that avenue. We want to be the primary influences in the lives of our children. They need mama and daddy. They need us more than anybody else. They need us. And so because they need it, I did the math one day, right? Like if you think about it, if you send your kids away for 8 hours a day and then they have 2 hours worth of homework, that's 10 hours. They're supposed to sleep for 8, that's 18 hours, right? And then there are what, 6 hours left in the day from 18. Is that right? Is that good math?
Mhm.
Yes. 6 hours a day. If they do any type of extracurricular activities, there's 2 hours of that gone, 2 hours of the 6. And then most of their screen times for those that have it is like 8 hours. So it's like, where'd you get the extra 2 hours, kid? Right? We're trying to figure these things out. And so as much time as we can have in front of our kids, right? That is what's gonna I do not want to get to a place in life where I'm like, well, I didn't raise you like that. Or I didn't raise you to think this way. Or I didn't raise you to X, Y, and Z. Or be thinking I didn't raise you to X, Y, and Z. And then realize that because I was absent and I was out of the house, or I wasn't present because I worked all day and I was tired, that I didn't raise them at all. I don't want that, y'all. That's not in the cards for me. And so like for us, like our why is so big, like this has to work. We have to communicate about it. So having clarity of your purpose. The second is having clarity of vision. Know where you're going together. Together, right? I can say, I want all these things over here. And she could be saying, I want all these things over here. If our visions aren't aligned, our actions won't be aligned. And if our actions aren't aligned, our business won't be aligned. And if our business isn't aligned, it ain't gonna work.
And the cool thing about Plexus and what we have found with just the whole community is there are so many people awkwardly in the corner. There are so many people that you find that they've designed their life, and everybody on this call might not want the same thing. Everyone has their why and their purpose, but it's just really encouraging to meet other people that have the life that you want. And then when they find out that you're doing it together, they're like, oh my goodness, like that, y'all need to take advantage of that and run with that, because it really isn't super common. So all that to say, I don't really know why I said that. You said something. It made me think of just having a vision and knowing where you're going, but also being around people that are like-minded will really help strengthen your vision together, and you'll be encouraged in doing this together.
Awesome. So clarity of purpose, clarity of vision. And if y'all know, I'm in ministry. And so and we're of the Baptist denomination. So y'all gonna get a lot of threes tonight. All right. Everything's gonna be in threes and it's all gonna be in alliteration. All right. So we got clarity of vision, clarity of purpose, and the final thing is clarity of your roles. Clarity of your roles. Know where you fit and what your spouse needs. That's a really big deal, y'all. That's a really big deal. Tonight, Joya knew I needed to jump on this call, and our kids weren't awake. I mean, our kids weren't asleep yet. And so she was like, all right, I'm going to go, you go get ready. I'll go and get the kids down, blah, 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 blah. And we have to talk about these things. And we had a little bit of miscommunication, right? I'm not going to act like it wasn't perfect. We were mad at each other right before this call. I like this. I'm being real. She has there were some expectations that I didn't meet. That's on me. But we worked it out. We communicated. And here we are together. But it's about knowing your role, understanding your roles, and understanding the second part. Selflessness is greater than compromise. For young couples, the people say, "Hey, what marriage advice do you have?" And people always say, marriage is about compromise." I think that's the worst advice on the planet, if I'm being honest. I really do. Compromise for me has such a negative connotation because compromise for me says, "Oh, I know what I want, but I guess you can have what you want." That's what compromise says, right? But selflessness says, I understand what you need in this moment, and I love you so much that I am willing to provide you what you need. It's outward focused, right? So it's not me compromising and me saying, "Oh, I guess I don't have to get what I want so that she can have what I want." It's me saying, I understand that she needs this right now, so let me in love provide her what she needs, and vice versa. And so when we talk about clarity of roles, like we were just talking, she's like, "You've had time alone. I need time without the kids." I have to see that and understand for her mental stability and for her health, her mental health and her emotional health, I need to find some time to provide a break for her so that she can do the business, so that she can feel like she can do her reach out, so that she can do X, Y, and Z, right? It's me looking out and understanding she needs a minute. Let me give her a minute, right? And not because I want anything in return, but because I love her and I see that need in her. And so those are the three things: clarity of purpose, clarity of vision, clarity of roles in communication. The next one that we're going to jump into is willingness. So let's talk about willingness. The first one is willingness to learn. All right. There's no room for ego here. No room for ego. And guys, as you jump into this business with your wife, she's gonna be like, "Hey man, like, why don't you try to say it like this?" And you're gonna be in your head, you're gonna be like, "Because I don't talk like that. I don't use emojis." Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? That ego's gonna well up and be like, "They don't even sound like me." You know, so like that's
The guys are laughing.
yeah, that happened for us. Like when I first started posting on social media, she has all these like eloquent posts, and I'm like, duplexes, yeah, question mark. Like this just like I don't like I'm not a big social media person. And so I've had to sit like just like swallow my ego and watch her and be willing to learn what she's doing well and try to make it my own. I don't need to speak with her voice, right? I just need to see what she's doing and imitate the confidence with which she's doing it. Right. I don't need her voice. I can have my own voice and I can speak to my own audience. And there are times that she'll say, "Hey, like that sounds weird. Do you can you say that a different way?" Right. And instead of me going, "What you mean it sounds weird?" Right. Like I'm just like, "Okay, how else would you say it?" And us having that dialogue and me being open and willing to learn. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like people say, "Oh, how do you do it as a dude?" It's like you do it the same way that women do it. You just speak with your own voice, and women are more open, so they're more used to speaking with their own voice. Guys, like, we don't even like to talk on social. Like, it's like, bro, like y'all know what I'm doing. I'm working. Right? You know where I'm at. I'm at the spot over here. I'm at the house. Like it's I'm chilling with the fam. Like we have our boxes, but it's being willing to open and looking for opportunities to learn from each other's strengths. Like I know she is really good about asking questions and doing all these things. I'm really good at running my mouth. All right, clearly. Really good at running my mouth. So because of me, she has become more open in conversations in public, right? Like in face-to-face conversations, you become more open in that area.
You mean like just in general?
Yeah, just in general.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. See, it worked. But and I have learned to like slow down and be more thoughtful and really consider what somebody's dealing with instead of like rushing in like, "Oh my gosh, let me tell you how Plexus helped me, blah 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 blah." And people like, "Whoa, son, that's a lot. You're really passionate about this." Right? Like I've learned to take a step back and be like, "All right, like, well, what are you looking for?" You know, how do you see this helping you? like asking questions like that. She's become really good and really thoughtful about that. So I'm trying to learn. We're trying to learn from each other's strengths. The next one is being willing to listen. Your spouse may see things in your approach that you might not. And this happens to me more so than it happens to her. But she can, like I said earlier, she can look at me and say, hey, why don't you try this differently? Or, how about you try posting about this? Or, hey, in that reel, blah, 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 blah. And I can sit back and go, all right, cool, process. All right, got it. And now I can do the last thing, which is be willing to labor, right? You take that feedback and you take action on it.
Yeah. And I mean, he's saying all these things that he needs to work on. Obviously, we both, like he's saying, we're like opposite personalities.
I don't know if y'all can tell that or not.
I'm an introvert. I'm a lot more outgoing than I used to be. And I credit a lot of that to Plexus, actually, to this business. A lot of people have said to me, Joya, you have blossomed since you've started this. And it's not necessarily anything that, like, I've noticed it in myself, but for other people to notice it is a big deal. But even still, when I'm having in-person conversations, I'm a little bit more hesitant and I'm not as confident as he is. And I remember one time I was on the phone with somebody. He's like, you need to be more confident in how you ask that person that whatever I was asking. And so just being willing to get, I don't know, feedback. Yeah, being willing to get feedback from the other person on what you do well, of course, but also, how could we do that differently? And a lot of that is based on what we are learning and what the information that we're taking in from trainings and, professional, books and all of that. And doing that stuff together is super powerful. I don't know if you are going to touch on that, but.
Well, no, that's super good. And I'll tell y'all this, one thing that I'm thankful about that's not related to the products, but related to the opportunity, but not the financial opportunity, is how much this business has forced us to grow, and how much she has grown as far as coming out of her shell and being more open and being vulnerable. And just watching, like, dudes, I know y'all feel me when I say this, but like, to watch your wife go from somebody who doesn't really exude a ton of confidence, and you're having to pour confidence into her and tell her you love her and like all these things, to this woman who is super confident and passionate about something that she's loved, and she's putting herself out there. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like right here, right? To watch how she has grown is one thing that as a husband makes me super proud. And so like I'm thankful for this opportunity and that it has provided that for my wife. And for me too, but really for my wife. Like, I've always been loud and out there. Like, this has helped me to have more discipline, but it has helped her to like grow and blossom and find herself truly, like the true self that I've always seen in her when it comes to like being a leader and things like that. And so that's awesome. But the last thing, I mean, with willingness to labor is ratify and execute on new commitments, right? Say that you're going to do it and then do it, right? Like, and talk about it, like put it out there with each other and do it. She did a couple of days ago, we're going to do a reach out challenge. And she was like, you have to do it too. And I was like, yeah. And I failed the first day. I did. I failed the first day. And she was like, well, what's the problem? Like, why are you freezing? And I'm like, because in my head, I'm going to reach out to somebody and then they're not going to like that I reached out to them. And so then they're not going to want to be my friend. And like, I really value relationship. Like, it was a whole like lie. She was like, you got to stop telling yourself these lies and you just got to do it. And I was like, you know what? I committed to doing it. And I've sent reach outs every day since. Bam. So here we are, ratifying and executing new commitments. And the final part of the three things tonight, y'all, is vulnerability. Guys, don't start sweating. I got you. We in here together. Be open to critique. I know that might be a hard word in our marriages, but like, we got to be open to critique, and not just open to it, but we got to seek it. Seek it from our spouse. Because that shows your spouse that you're really in this to win it. You're really in this with them, right? When I go to her and be like, hey, I made this post, what you think? Or like, I like go to her and be like, hey, I made this reel. I'm about to post this. Like, what do you think? Can you look it over? And she'll be like, oh, that's funny. Ooh, change this. Or like I freaked out earlier because of typos. I'm like, she'll be like, ooh, that's typo right there and right there and right there. And I'm like, thank you, because I didn't catch it. Right. Not super smart, y'all. But yeah, don't just be open to critique. Seek feedback. And then as your spouse is giving feedback, assume loving intent. Assume loving intent. It's really easy when we get critiqued by our spouse for us to bow up because it's like, what you mean? Right? Like it's really easy for that to happen. But we gotta assume that they're telling us or they're giving us that feedback because they want the best for us. And I think that's it's just easy for somebody close to us when they critique us for you to go, why are you critiquing me like that? But it like they mean the best. They want the best for you. So just assume loving intent. Okay. The next thing here is abide in cheering. Like live to be your spouse's cheerleader and their biggest cheerleader, and be intentional about the things that you're cheering them on about. Right? Like seek opportunities to cheer your spouse on. You never know how much that's going to mean to them. You never know. Right? Like when I do something and Joey's like, babe, I'm proud of you. I'm like, my ego like wells up in a different way. I'm like, man, she proud of me, bro. Like she said she proud of me today. Like it makes me feel good, but it also spurs me to further action because I want to make her proud. Right? I want her to see that I'm in this with her. I'd never want her to feel like she's by herself in this. And so we have to seek opportunities to cheer her on. Every time she does something that I think is like super dope, I tell her like, babe, that was a super dope post you just made. Really good content. Girl, I see you on your stories. I see you in there. Like that's how I operate. Like I just want to be her biggest cheerleader because I want her to know that I'm with her 100% of the way. And the biggest way to do that is to just open your mouth, get uncomfortable, be awkward, like be that couple that people see in public, like, oh my gosh, they love each other too much. Like be those people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you keep telling her he love her? Because I love you, girl. You know what I'm saying? Just be her biggest cheerleader. Okay. And ladies, be your husband's biggest cheerleader because all we want is to make you proud. And so when you let us know that, it's right here. All right. Am I lying, fellas? Am I lying? Have I lied yet? Nope. Nope.
Where's the lie?
Where's the lie? All right. And then the final thing goes along with the be each other's biggest cheerleader. Acknowledge each other's courage. Acknowledge each other's courage. When your spouse does something scared, celebrate them for that. If there's something that has been on their heart, like me, reach outs. Terrifying. I hate reach outs. I'd rather meet you face to face. So you stuck talking to me for like 5 minutes, right? Like I would rather that. And if you say in my face, if you say, nah, I'm good. Like I'm super good with that. Like I'll dap you up. We still friends. But like if I see you reach out and you don't respond, it makes me freak out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
See, I'm the opposite.
She don't care.
I'm like, I don't care if you don't respond on a message, but if I have to look at you and then you're like, no, I'm like, oh, I can't just I can't be behind the screen. I'm just sitting there in your face. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know how to handle it better than me. So
I do. I would much rather say we're opposite.
The cool thing is, and like he was saying, like way earlier in the call, like don't try to make the other person always do things how you do them, but still encourage them to do the things that scare them. And just going back to this point, when your spouse does something that scares them, make a big deal about it. Because I mean, this business is doing a lot of things scary if you want to grow it to a sustainable level. you got to get out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
So
Growth never happens where you're comfortable. I know we've heard that a million times, but it's so true. Growth never happens where we're comfortable. And so if we're gonna grow, we have to get uncomfortable. And that last point, talk about ways to grow together, should it say talk about ways to get uncomfortable together? Right? Like talk about things that are gonna stretch you, not just individually, but as a couple. Right? One of those things for us is like we just drove to from Flowery Branch to Chickamauga, Georgia. Okay, I don't know if y'all know what Chickamauga is, but it's a 2.5 hour drive to do an in-person event. Right. Now I'll be like, again, we are full transparent. Nobody showed up to the event. Right. And that's totally fine because we got an opportunity to see our business builder and have a conversation with her in person and meet her family and talk with her husband. And we got to chat it up and we got to grow together and we got to it was a really sweet time of fellowship. Even though we went there for one thing and that one thing didn't happen, it didn't matter because we still got time to fellowship and grow together. And we talked through coaching strategies and we talked through business tips and we talked through all of these different things. So we still grew, right? But we knew that that was a risk before we made the 2.5 hour drive with our 2 children in the backseat of the car. Right? Like we knew what we were risking. We were like, is there anybody confirmed? And she was like, no, y'all don't have to come. And we were like, no, girl, we're going to do it anyway. Because what if one person does, right? And that one person's life could be changed because of Plexus. And you know what? I drive the 2.5 hours again if I had to. We do it all over again because it's about doing it scared and doing it messy. So that's the thing. And so we have those 3 things: communication, willingness, and vulnerability. Thank you. Are the 3 keys we believe are vital for couples to do this business. So finally, I want you guys to write these things down and I want you to talk about them tonight. And I really do hope this exercise is helpful. But we want y'all to write down these questions and we want you to write the answers to these questions and write them on your own separate sheets of paper and then come together and talk about them. So the first question is, what are your strengths or weaknesses? Like, what do you feel are your strengths and your weaknesses? Okay. So I want y'all to write those down. You write it, your spouse write it, and then we'll talk about it together. And then on the next call, we're going to ask you to write down, what do you think your spouse's strengths and weaknesses are? Yeah, Corey, I saw that face. I saw that face.
to go to the chat.
All right. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in the chat. Sorry, I've missed the chat. All right, second question. How do you desire to contribute? That's important to know. That's important to understand. Like, what do you see as your role in this business together? And so for us, right, like we're building together. And so like my contribution is going to be more in person, face-to-face conversations, getting people on the phone, helping people through their regimen and what to start and what to take and how many of these to take and blah, 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 like all of those things. Like, how do you desire to contribute? Hers is more customer care, retention strategy, asking the questions, right? Like, honestly, when I'll get into a conversation, if it's a lady and she starts talking lady stuff, I'm like, babe, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I don't know. I can help to a point, but at a point, I'm out, right? Like, here you go. Third question, and there's only 4 of these. What are the things that we can do together? what are the things that we need to do separately? Right? We need to sit down together and plan our business for the month and plan our actions and look at where we are and where we want to go. Like those are things that we need to do together. You know, some people may operate in a way that, the wife may sit down because she's the main person running the business. She may sit down and run the numbers and say, all right, babe, here's where we are. Here's where we need to be. This is what I need you to do. Right? Like we may do that, but like we like to do that planning together so we can see the gaps and fill in gaps and do all those things separately. We do reach outs and like all of our like business, like little business stuff. I say little, it's not little, but
like
our IPAs we do separately. But I do go to her for help a lot of times. And then finally, final question is a simple one, but how committed are you to making this work? Right? And that goes back to communication, clarity of vision, clarity of purpose, clarity of roles, right? If y'all say, all right, babe, I got calls on Monday and Thursday. I need you to take the kids. Like, bro, on Thursday, you can't be like, but the boys called, we're gonna go down here and or me, like we can't. We were one of the things that we were just fighting about. She was like, do you even ask before you schedule golf with friends? And I'm like, I was gonna talk to you about it, but like she overheard the conversation. But she's like Friday, like I was trying to either spend with you or have time to do stuff. Were you even gonna ask? And I'm like, I was gonna ask. I just hadn't gotten around to it yet. I should ask beforehand, though, right? Like I should have like, babe, Friday, can I go play golf with my boy? You know what I mean? Like let's have that. Like that was on me. That's on me. Like I'm owning it. I'm owning it. But you better swat that fly. Get that thing, girl. But yeah, how committed are you to making this work? And that just goes back to keeping the three things in mind, right? Did I communicate with her effectively? He is good. So write these questions down, answer them, talk about them together. And now this is the part of the call where we're going to open it up to dialogue. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute, jump in here. We're going to take a few minutes to do this and then.
We do. I do.
What's up? Ryan and Tamara in the building. Good to see y'all again.
Good to see you guys too. Yeah. So when you guys do the IPAs separate, yeah, so Ryan's jumping in now, which I'm super excited. And I mean, this is just great. And I was praying before we went to convention. I was like, I hope he connects with Luther and Kyle, because it looked like you guys are, same, like, faith was a priority, family and business was real. It wasn't just like a little thing I'm doing with my wife to make her happy. And then that's exactly the two guys that he connected with. So this is exciting. But the IPA part, what does that look like practically for you guys? So when you say you do it separate, you both have, like, say for example, we're doing 5 reach outs, 5 follow-ups, whatever your IPAs look like. Are you saying you're doing that 5-5 or 3-3, or are you doing, okay. So are you matching each other usually?
Go ahead.
Yes. So
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna answer the do they match? No, she is much better at it than I am, but I'll let her finish.
Like, I think we may have touched on this earlier. We have different styles in how we talk to people and how we approach people, and we don't want to take away from how we do things that way. But yes, like there's power in having 2 people going in together. So like if I'm doing 5 and he's doing 5, like that's 10 in a day, or doing more than that. So no, we don't necessarily come together and say, let's reach out to these people today. Like I have my people and he has his people, and typically they don't coincide, or like they're not the same, because we do know a lot of people, and we haven't even reached out to all the people that we know. I don't think we've ever, maybe once, reached out to the same person, like without knowing. But otherwise, like I don't know how that's happened. That's kind of like magical that has not happened. But yeah, we both do it. We both do follow-ups. We just do them our own way, if that makes sense. He does a lot of phone calls. He does a lot of, like, lately he's been going to meet people at the coffee shop or like in person. Where I do a lot of phone calls and messaging. But we're each doing it. Like we're not like combining our reach outs, if that makes sense. But as far as
oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then you just know as a team that you did your thing. Like at the end of the day or whatever, you guys like, you got yours done. Yeah, I got mine done. Whatever it was, it doesn't have to be the same, but just we both did it.
Yeah, they usually answer with her saying, "Who'd you talk to today?" That's one of the questions she had. She literally, I don't think she knows she does it, but she asks me every day, like, "Who'd you talk to today?" And that's mostly because like I will talk to people and I won't write it down because like I'm just moving. And then she'll be like, "Hey, you said you," and she'll be really good about saying, "Hey, you talked to such and such this day. Have you followed up with them?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I need to do that." Right. And so it's really like a check for her to help keep me in line. Because I'm like the out here, like vision, go get all the things. She has to do a really good job of like reeling me in at the end of the day. It's like, "Hey, let's slow down, let's talk about this." So that we can stay on track. Otherwise, like people I'll be like, "Hey, want to do plexus?" "Hey, want to do plexus?" Like, and just completely forget. Like that's not how I ask, but just as an example.
And that's something we're working through too, like making sure that everybody is documented somewhere so that, we don't forget. Nobody gets like lost in the cracks.
Yeah, that is one of those things about our business. Yeah. Well, that's really good. Thank you so much for answering. I just wanted to know what that looked like, as a team. So thank you.
Oh, look, y'all, we are wide open. So if y'all got any questions,
I got one.
go ahead, girl.
So if y'all are building under your team, you both are just doing your separate things and then adding everyone under you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean everybody that knows our story like just understands that we want to build a stable business, and the most stable way to do it is, instead of building two volatile legs, build one stable leg. Right? Build one stable leg and then you can work that stable, because guess what? Like my diamond is her diamond. Right? Money going in the same account.
Yeah, I'm thinking that for sure. So I have considered, I'm senior gold and he is silver. I've considered, since his people haven't ordered in over a year, just downgrading him from VIP or brand ambassador to VIP customer. So when the time is right and we do start over, it's all fast started.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great strategy, I
We
think.
thought about doing that with me because I have maybe like two people ordering under me. The only thing with us is that like corporate kind of knows that we're a package deal. So I feel like I still need to have my ambassador account active just to have it.
And so like she still gets to go to all the ambassador things and do the ambassador because she's an ambassador. And so we still have, like, we kept her ambassador account. But no, I feel you on that. I think that's a legitimate strategy for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Luther, I know Luther, you mentioned too, is that you guys were going to look on building her leg once you hit Emerald, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to kind of touch and kind of almost bridge the gap between what like the two of you guys just discussed. That was another thing, is like when I said I built Richie's section to senior silver, like Richie is like an open-ended recruiter on like conversations in the mix. Not necessarily sending out messages, but like if someone's like, wow, you take collagen? He goes, yeah, my knees don't hurt, you know? And so that's like his way of recruiting. And so, but that being said, one second, that being said is that when someone at convention said, hey, you know, uh, is a table stable with two legs? And it was Genevieve asking her about having four legs. And so when you're like mapping out how to like consistently build your business, and you're looking for like other people that you're wanting to do this business with, then essentially one of your legs could be your spouse, and that is something you could control as far as just making sure when you're looking at that, say for whatever reason the other legs, you know, kind of ebb and flow, then you will always know that whatever you're making on your spouse's leg is what you guys are bringing in collectively. And I think that was a really good pivot that I didn't realize, of just being like, okay, well, if we did build him to emerald and I had other emerald legs, and for whatever reason something happened with those legs or whatever, then we as a family would still be building on that leg. And so that's where I feel like that is something that is beneficial. That was something I just didn't really think twice about. So just wanted to kind of share that thought.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing too, when we talk about building under her or me, what I don't want to do, and I never want to run into this problem, Lauren. Let's say we're building, and we're splitting them, like we're splitting legs, right? And we're not really building her leg. We're building my leg faster, but we're signing some people up under her, right? What happens if we sign somebody up under her and that person starts running? See what I'm saying? Because their outside leg points are going to surpass her outside leg points. And now you know what I'm saying? So we want anybody who is looking at the business, who is considering the business, to be up under the primary leg. So that when you get those people excited and they want to run, they're in the right place and they're not two people down from you, because your spouse is in between the two of y'all. Right. And so consider that when you look at building as well. That's a great question.
I know there's like so much talk about that when you're doing with a couple. When I first started, my sponsor is Lori Bradford. I'm on her re-entry Sapphire leg, and her and Amber, I talked to them about that because there's definitely like different opinions on it. But what you just touched on is exactly why Lori told me not to sign up my husband, which I haven't thought about the ambassador thing like you were saying, but he is not even a VIP. We just order all of our stuff that he needs and I need under mine, and anything that he brings in, it's all under my, thing. He doesn't even have a business. So when we go to a convention, it's like he's a guest, which I don't know. I should probably do a little more research on that, but that is what Lori was saying too. And she's looking at signing her husband up now as a Sapphire, which might be a little late in the game, but it's interesting like how that works, where it's like it makes sense until you do have a runner, and then all of a sudden, like you said, now it's splitting things.
Yeah,
so
I think him being a VIP is totally fine. Like even with our stuff, like she still gets to do all the brand ambassador stuff, but like I still go to the Ruby stuff and she still goes to the, gold and below stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so like we just get both perspectives instead of her just being like a VIP, which I think they can go to any of it. But the other thing too, I just literally there was a thought in my head and it left me. Get you 25% with 500 PV. Yeah, Jen. Oh yeah, I would definitely at least have them as a VIP. I don't see any issues there. Oh, I was gonna say leaders retreat, you always get a +1. So like all the things that matter, you get a +1. So we're still in it together. And so that part doesn't really matter. But like I said, I don't want to put a potential runner and I don't know that person's a runner up under her and risk, having that what is that called? You know what I'm talking about.
I know.
When
Is that
now,
I forget
when
what it
once
was.
you know the word I'm talking about.
Compression.
Compression. That.
Yeah, I'm like, it's an A word. That's all I can remember.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We got 3 minutes, y'all.
Hi, I'm not sure my video on because I'm getting my kids to sleep, but I was just gonna say on the subject, the reason I said get your 500 PV is because we're a family of 8. We have 6 kids, and
Wow.
so we order all of our products underneath my account typically, and my husband does have a VIP account, but we will do that for people who don't want to sign up as customers and just want to order something from us. We'll just order under his account to get the 6 points, but then we're still getting that 500 PV every month to get the 25%, get your cash back more.
Interesting.
Cool.
There's so many ways to do it.
So many ways to do it.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for
that.
sharing that, Jennifer. Any other questions? We got 2 minutes, y'all.
Okay, one
I'll-
question just because you guys have experienced it a little bit more. So for me, like I've built my team, Josh is joining in, he's starting to do more. We haven't really thought about like joining under him versus having his joins under me and that kind of stuff. So this is super helpful. But what about when it comes to like recognition? Do you ever feel left out, or how do you create recognition for you as a couple, being that it's under his name, or for us it'd be under my name?
That's a really good question. I think our team, our like diamond team is called Made for More, and they've just embraced the fact that we do it together. And our diamond upline was actually the one who said like, hey, y'all need to be under Luther. Like, don't do each of y'all's businesses. So it's Luther and Joya. Whenever all of our enrollments, the leaderboard, it's Luther and Joya. Like we're together, and even corporate, like they know that as well at Plexus. There just aren't a lot of couples like doing it the way that we are, which I thought there were more. And so we're recognized together. And even if like on the leaderboard for Plexus, it's going to be Luther, obviously, because it's his account. But like on our team leaderboard, like our diamond upline, she always puts me in as well. And like if it's just his name, like that doesn't bother me at all. Like it's one of those things. And he's, being asked to speak. Like he's going to be speaking on stage next year. Like that is a big goal. And it's going to be him talking. Like I'm not going to get to go up there and talk with him.
Oh no.
That would be cool if I did, but I would also understand like, I'd be a whatever senior silver ambassador. Like I'm not going to be up there on stage, but like it's just kind of understood. And I do feel like we are recognized a lot as a couple. So I think people are just really gracious and have understood that. And but also it does require humility. Like his name is out there more than mine, and just understanding that yes, we're doing it together, but like I don't know, it doesn't bother me.
I am always conscious of that, and I make sure anytime you hear me speak, I always talk about my wife. Every time you hear me speak, you hear me say, my wife and I do this together.
Right.
Like you're never gonna hear Luther talk about how Luther's done X, Y, and Z, because Luther ain't nothing without Joya, period. Right. And I'll be the first to say it. I'm not some and truly like our heart in this business is to help people. Right. And the recognition part of Plexus is really cool and it's super dope for the people that need it. But like, that ain't what I'm here for. It's not what I'm here for. Like people were like, did you know you're on the weekly leaderboard? I'm like, no, I don't even check. I don't like we don't check because it's not for us. It's not about a rank. It's not about a number. It's not about a recognition. It's about changing lives, right? It's about pouring into people. It's about helping people live the life that they dream of, that they are envisioning for themselves, right? And those people, who know that about us and whose lives we're getting to pour into, they know we do this together. And that's enough. That's enough. And so anything that has Luther Harris on it is Luther and Joya. And that's like that's the way I see it. And it's like if we see our name on the leaderboard, it's like, look, babe, we made it. We made it, right? It's like I think about it like when you're introduced at your wedding, right? They'll say Mr. and Mrs. Luther Harris.
Mm-hmm.
There are two people there, one name, but it's because we are one, right? And that goes back to clarity of vision, clarity of purpose, right? And clarity of knowing our roles. I know who I am. I know I'm nothing without her. 100%. Period. And so we just don't. I mean, it is what it is.
Somebody said in the chat, Plexus does a great job of recognizing couples. Like I've noticed too, like if you were at convention on the jewel boards, they'll have one person, like it might be one person that got to diamond, but they'll put the couple. Like there are some pictures that have the couple. So they're acknowledging like, hey, both of them did it together.
And
So,
every picture will have both of our faces in it.
yeah, even if it just says one, even if it says just one name, like I feel like Plexus honors that. So
because they're about family. This company is amazing. I know I don't have to tell y'all that this company is amazing. And they're about family. They're about togetherness. They're about being what truly one Plexus. And so, yeah. We're 4 minutes over. So thank you guys who stayed on here this whole time. We hope this was helpful. We hope it was edifying for those on the call. We appreciate you guys being here. Kylie, if she's still here, there she is. She's up there in the corner.
I'm here.
Thank you so much for this idea. This is not the last one, y'all. So we'll do this again, and the content will be a little bit different and more interactive the next time. So because we'll have more time to put it together. And so with that, we wish you guys a great night, and we hope to see you guys on the next Better Together Plexus call. All right, y'all have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.